Lionel, is that you?
There, I think I got it. Okay, so here we are again. Today is Sunday, April the 5th. And we're doing another, what's happening, man? What's happening? And I even have Ralph here. Hey, say hey, hey. Say hey, hey, Ralph.
Hey, hey, hey.
Ralph.
Nice.
Ralph, what have you been up to? You are an artiste extraordinaire.
About 6 foot.
Are you 6 foot?
You're gonna tell me that you didn't know they pilot that high.
Are you really 6 feet tall?
Well, I'm shorter now as I got older, yeah. But that's what I was.
Well, how tall are you now?
5'11" and a half.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So you could probably do a pretty good number on me because I'm only like 5'9" and a quarter or something like that.
Listen, I was always told through my hockey career, the bigger they are, the harder they fall.
That's right. Exactly.
So I tried to make sure that I didn't get hit.
Right. Okay. Are the Leafs
And with that said, I can turn around and say sports made me what I am today.
Yeah. Well, exactly.
A bloody mess.
Did the Leafs play last night?
Well, they did on my TV.
What game did you watch?
I don't remember. I just happened to flip through. I saw them playing, and I thought, no, I'm sorry.
All right.
No,
okay.
Not real.
All right. So we got a whole bunch of people here. It's going to be fun. We got a whole bunch of regions. Oh, I'm getting a message from the moderately agitated mailboy. He's not feeling well. No, he's feeling okay. He's feeling okay. He's dealing with work-related issues. On a Saturday. Sunday. On a Sunday.
That's why he's not feeling well.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Okay, let's introduce everybody. We got a wide spectrum of the globe here today.
We do.
We have Ralphie boy.
Yipper.
We have Cosmo, Jordan Kramer.
Hey.
And Tracy Boyd was asking about you today. She was asking me, how come we don't see Jordan anymore?
Oh.
Because he fell off his chair the other night.
Yeah.
We ask that question all the time, too. It's not just Tracy.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly, Tracy. We're always asking that question.
We want to make sure that Jordan is not like chained up in the basement somewhere.
Yeah.
So we want a picture of him every day just to...
Yeah, exactly.
We want to see his whole body, not just like, the upper part to make sure that he's not tied up in a basement somewhere.
And we want to see that he's holding a newspaper, the current newspaper of the day.
Yes, exactly.
And then we got a newbie that's been hanging around the studio, and finally we let him in. His name is George Taylor. He is FedEx driver extraordinaire and a young gun. He's a young gun, so he represents a younger demographic of the hobby. Well, I guess you do too, Jordan. How old are you, Jordan?
Yeah, 23.
23, and George, you're 27?
That's right.
Wow, you guys are killing the demographic. Say hey, George.
Hey, George.
What'd you do today, George? Anything exciting?
Not too much. I spent the day with my wife and son and hung around the house, tried to get some things done, work on a few models, all that good stuff.
Cool. And then you got to go back to work because tomorrow you got to go back to work because you're out there delivering. Do you deliver many medical supplies, or is it people just, ordering shirts off of Amazon?
There's a lot of shirts, a lot of pants, but no, I deliver quite a bit to the Cornwall Hospital actually. So
good.
It's good. It's good to be feeling that I'm doing something more than just a mundane day to day.
Yeah, exactly. Good. Well, we're proud of you, buddy. Hang in there. And then we got our buddy Hard Part. He's the modeler simply known as Hard Part.
Yes.
All the way from Appleton, Wisconsin.
Mm-hmm. Where's a beautiful, almost 60-degree day today?
Nashville North.
Yes.
So I got a question for you, Kevin.
Sure.
It is Nashville North. You're very connected to the music scene. I wish I lived in your town with you because I think I'd become a happening guy hanging around you. We'd be Dusty and Dapper hanging around.
Yeah, but soon you'd have to drop the Dusty name because you would be a star.
Yeah, exactly. I'll always be. It's gonna be like Starsky and Hutch. We'll be Dusty and Dapper.
There you go. Perfect.
What kind of car would we have?
Well, I had LaFonda out today, and she's nice and shiny again, so she's very happy. And I want to make sure she looks good for getting her new shoes on Tuesday.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You're getting new tires.
Yeah.
Are you still doing that, even though we're going to be able to do that, even though the COVID's happening?
Yeah, the winter tires, the winter wheels, and the winter rims and the winter tires are coming off, and the summer rims, and she's getting some new summer tires. So, yeah, I mean, it's not going to last forever. So I want to make sure that when all of this does end, I need to get back out on the road again. So she needs to be ready to go.
And Kevin, hard part.
Yes.
Can I ask you a question?
Anything, buddy.
When that day comes and it's time to part with LaFonda,
yes.
Who are you selling her to?
You.
Perfect.
Yep.
Beauties. Guy got
Mark
dibs.
it down, guys. We witnessed that.
Yeah. Dibs on LaFonda.
Dibs on LaFonda. You're gonna have to fight off Spoon.
Yeah.
But no, you don't, folks. Because you called it first.
I called it, man. I called it way out. I called it years out in advance.
That's true.
It's
Then
like shotgun.
Yeah, I called shotgun, exactly. Then all the way from Brisbane, Australia, the Gold Coast, the home of V8 supercar racing, the greatest automobile racing on the planet, is our very own Martyn Jenkins.
And g'day.
What time is it there?
Today it is now Sunday morning at 9:20.
Oh, okay. What time do you?
So I've just had my breakfast.
What'd you have for breakfast?
Monday morning.
Oh, some toast and cornflakes and a cup of coffee.
Okay, cool. And toast and cornflakes and cup of coffee. Do you put anything on your toast?
Oh, yeah. Well, we went through this before, but I'm a stickler for my melody.
Oh yeah, marmalade. Oh,
Good old marmalade. Nothing changes here.
me British mum wanted me to eat marmalade, and I just couldn't do it. I could never choke it down for some reason or other. Weird how people like certain stuff.
Yes, it's an acquired taste. Mary doesn't like it.
All right. And finally, we got our very own NMRA representative. He's a guy that's has his finger on the pulse of the nation. He lives in the Orkney Islands, which is the north of Great Britain, which is the coolest thing about the New World. And he came up with the greatest idea in the history of model railroading by utilizing today's technology, the virtual region. And his microphone is turned off, and I'm wondering if he's ever going to be able to say anything to us. Oh, there he is there. Look at that. How about that?
I'm here.
It's Gordy Robinson, our very own Gordy Robinson.
Hey.
Hey,
everyone.
What's it like in the Orkneys right now?
A wee bit chilly. We have the wind coming down off the Arctic Circle today, and it was positively Baltic.
What was the high temperature?
Well, it's the wind chill you've got to take into account. So that the ambient temperature with no wind was actually about 10 degrees Celsius, but with the wind chill, it was -3.
So in Fahrenheit, it was almost 50 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yeah, 10 degrees is 50.
Yeah. So it was almost 50 degrees Fahrenheit, but with the wind chill, it was like 24 Fahrenheit.
Yeah, basically. And it was a nice day today.
And it was a nice day.
There was no snow today.
You don't still have snow there, do you?
Not on the ground. Not on the ground because it's too much of a salty atmosphere, but it snowed pretty hard the last 3 days.
Pretty hard, as in what, you got 3-4 feet or what, a couple inches?
It doesn't stick, but as in you can't see because it's snowing horizontally with a 50-mile-an-hour wind driving it.
How do you ever have any days where it's not windy?
1 or 2.
Are you drinking beer? Can you take a break from drinking beer while you're talking to me? Put the beer down, Gordy.
It's legit, man. Yeah, we do have some non-windy days.
Oh, that's good.
But then, yeah, it's a bit weird when there's a non-windy day. You do really notice it.
Yeah, I guess you would. So you still are very active in the NMRA.
I am, and I'm extremely busy at the moment because we, with the COVID stuff, I've been supporting members and divisions all over the world, trying to now get them to go online, and we've had some big successes of stuff that we've been able to help with. So, it's busy. I mean, just give some quick examples of that. We've got
Hang on.
Division.
Hang on. Before you give your quick examples, everybody turn their camera on for a minute so I can put this on our Instagram page. And then Kevin already realized his camera's already on.
He's so quick.
Wave. Everybody wave. On the count of 3, everybody wave. Martyn. There you go, Martyn. Keep waving, Martyn. Attaboy. Perfect. All right.
Okay.
That's it. Turn them off. We don't want to see you anymore. Okay. So, all right. So you're doing something with the Piedmont division.
They won. So the Piedmont division have taken all their meetings online, board meetings and their actual division meetings on a Tuesday night at first of the month. The guys up in the Midwest didn't really need much help, but a little bit of encouragement got them. Tom Gazier, who's up in the Twin Cities, has managed to get them doing a weekly Friday night layout tour or online clinic through Facebook Live on their Facebook group, and there's a few others coming on stream. So we've also relaxed some of the rules in the NMRA Facebook group to allow manufacturers to promote discounts and new models and new products and all sorts of stuff to try to help them get them through this difficult time, because not everybody's a huge manufacturer, so helping everybody, the big guy and the little guy, and just trying to keep everybody going, really.
You love doing this online stuff for the NMRA, don't you?
Yeah, I think it's not the future, it's the present, and we just need to accept that.
Yeah, that's right. That's why everybody's forced to have me forced to listen to us, and have to listen to me because of the new world. I can make people force them to listen to me every day.
Yeah, and I've been talking about doing the virtual region and doing more NMRA stuff virtually, and it's fallen on deaf ears for such a long time. Suddenly,
yeah.
My dream is becoming a reality, thankfully, and we're able to reach out to a lot more people, because there are a lot of people that have been socially isolated for a very long time for various reasons, and finally they're getting a lot more, they're having a lot more ability to contact with their division and other modelers and stuff like that. And,
wait. I have to jump in here. I'm sorry. Are you saying, Gordy, that what you've been preaching for the last 2 years is actually a good idea and it's working right now?
Yeah, amazing.
Will you stop drinking beer for 2 seconds?
Sorry, I was being sarcastic, and I just wanted,
No, but I mean, as you're saying it, and you wait for him to answer, he's got to stop gulping because he's got another beer jammed in his mouth.
Oh, I thought you were talking to me because I'm drinking beer too.
Oh, I'll throw something in there too. Gordy and I did a virtual weathering session from Toronto to wherever his home base was at the time. So I did my weathering clinic online for his group.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
I also did it with Martyn.
Yeah, you see, Gordy had a copy of the Convicts.
Listen, there's nothing to be scared of. They shouldn't be scared of new ideas, but yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate. It takes extreme circumstances to force a change, but it's nice to see that we've been able to change and people are embracing it. So it's good. Yeah, and it's tough because I don't know whether I'm a young one anymore or not, because I just turned 33. But it's difficult to. It's sometimes difficult to have your voice heard in an organisation like the NMRA. And there are people who listen, and there are unfortunately more that don't. But yeah.
Well, you know what? You know what it is? You know what? On the air, right in front of you, so that you can hear me say it. I know you listen to every podcast, and some of them twice. But I think your enthusiasm for the NMRA, even though you irritate the living crap out of me sometimes, your enthusiasm for the NMRA and your enthusiasm for life and all you're trying to do with this virtual region stuff, I think is awesome. So you keep it up. Don't give up the fight.
You're here.
Thank you.
Hey, hard part. I got a question for you, buddy.
Sure.
So the convention, the NMRA National Convention is coming up in St. Louis, and it promises to be a great convention by all impressions of the podcast or their website and all the things I've heard they're going to do. I think that's friggin' awesome. Are you going?
Absolutely.
You're going. You go.
Yeah, we're gonna.
You're the train show. You're at the train show, right?
Yeah, I'm at the National Train Show with the Fast Tracks booth.
Okay, and will you be going? Do you guys sign up for the actual convention?
Not really, because part of the time we have to get everything there and get set up, so we actually miss part of it. But we do try to take advantage of any activities that may be going on while we're there.
Yeah. So, go ahead. Somebody was going to say something.
No, I said right on.
Yeah. And
No
Martyn, you and I are going together.
That's correct. We've got a party house booked, and there's a few of us staying there.
And who else?
After I do the 16-hour flight from Brisbane to St. Louis.
Yeah, and who all's staying? It's you and me and Ron Marsh and
we got to be careful because we got the Stark brothers staying, and they're like they're trouble.
The Stark boys.
Yeah, the Stark boys are staying there. We got Ron Marsh, Adam Pinellas, yourself, me, Peter Borschids.
Right.
So it's going to be an international house of Canadian, American, Australian.
That's going to be.
We won't know if we're going to close the curtains or shut the drapes.
So, all right. So, has anybody heard if this thing is going on or not, or what's the dealio? Anybody know?
Last I heard, it was still going on.
Yeah,
I don't think they know.
They don't. You don't think they know, Ralph?
I don't think they know.
It's hard to. Well, yeah. Except I'm looking at the website now, and the only question I have, the only reason I'm asking, Martyn, have you sent in your registration?
I've not sent in my registration yet. I've paid for accommodation and I've paid for the airline tickets, but I haven't actually registered.
Yeah, because that's what I wanted to talk to you about. And Martyn, correct me. Anybody feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but we try to be as transparent here on the old AML network as possible. Is that not true?
That's very true.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So one of the reasons I wanted to talk to you, Martyn, is because I was on the NMRA, the webpage for the convention, and I was going to tell you not to register yet because it says that if they cancel it because of the COVID, they're going to keep 25% of your registration. Well, I guess it's $35 they're going to keep of the $150 that you register. So I was going to say to you,
Are you serious?
What?
For what?
Whoa! Stop the.
Hang on. When we convert that to real money, that's actually about $70 Australian.
Oof.
Really?
What does real money mean?
Yeah.
God. Really? Wow.
For what?
What's their reasoning?
I don't know. It's for the reason. Oh, look at this. The Queso Cowboy has joined us.
Yeehaw.
Look at that. He's rocking a beard and his hair is all undone. Tom's been having a good day today.
Okay, yeah. Let's just quickly introduce him because we'll bring him up to speed. Tom, I got an international crew here. It's Sunday, April the 5th. And I got Jordan and the Ralph, and I got Gordy all the way from the Orkneys, although he can't stop drinking beer while we're doing this. And I got Hard Part. I got everybody, and I was asking them all about going to the convention, and I was
thousands here.
Yeah. And the reason I thought you might enjoy this, I don't know if you're going to St. Louis or not, but Martyn and I are sharing a house with a bunch of guys, the Start Boys, which means the cops will be there every night. Actually, that and Adam, there's a combination. Yeah. So anyways, Tom, the only thing I had just said to Martyn, I asked him if he had registered yet, because I was looking on the website, the convention, NMRA St. Louis convention website, Gateway 2020. And apparently if you register, they're not going to give you all your money back if they have to cancel because of COVID.
Okay.
They're going to keep, if it's $150 to register.
Ooh.
And they're going to keep $35 if they have to cancel because of COVID.
What if you cancel without COVID? Do they not keep the 35?
I don't know. It doesn't
No.
make much sense to me. If you go to the, let me see if I can work the Google on the internet.
That's a very good question to ask, Martin.
Why does COVID need that much money? I mean,
Yeah.
isn't it just going to go away in a couple of weeks? I mean, what's the purpose of that?
Well, I don't understand why they're keeping any money for this convention thing. Like if they have to cancel,
Wouldn't they have insurance for that? 'Cause I wouldn't
They have
think
insurance
that.
for everything else.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's what I was about to say.
yeah, they got insurance for everything.
Jordan, is what you're saying that if you have an NMRA sanctioned event, that insurance is part of that package?
Oh,
If
I think
something
you're
would
right.
happen to that event, you would be covered. It almost sounds like someone forgot to fill out the paperwork. That's what I think.
It does.
Well, it also would depend on whether or not pandemic is included in the
Fine
coverage.
print.
Yeah.
There you go. It's important to have an insurance professional on the call.
Okay.
Okay,
For the
so
insurance professional.
If I
It's-
remember correctly, I remember hearing someone on the news talking about this, and COVID is not an act of God, so it has to be covered.
well, here's where I'm at. This is why I'm confused. This is almost, Kevin. See if I'm hard part. I apologize.
That's okay.
See if this makes any sense to you. This seems like a personal. What do they call it? A public service announcement.
Yes.
kind of.
So let me finish here and see if I've got this right. Because you know me, I'm not the sharpest knife in the drawer. So it says the Gateway 2020 convention has not been canceled. We are working hard on all convention activities in order to have an enjoyable convention. And then if you scroll all the way to the bottom and you click on refund policy, it says the Gateway 2020 refund policy. If the convention itself is canceled due to current COVID-19 epidemic, all registrants will be refunded their registration fee less $35.
Ooh.
Plus $10 for convention. So basically, if they have to cancel it, they're keeping. So the thought that I had is, don't we want to encourage everybody not to register until they know for sure?
Exactly.
Yeah, that would
That
be
would
a very
make
good
sense.
idea.
That-
Yeah.
Lionel,
Otherwise, you're.
Go ahead. Gord.
Lionel, is that just registrants? What about the other registrations that you can have? Because isn't there a registration for kids and spouses?
Yeah, like if your wife comes along, they're keeping $10 because your wife came, and if you brought your kids, they're keeping $5 for each kid.
They want $5 for a kid off every child that was going to come to the.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you and your wife have signed up, they're going to keep $45 of your money.
Wow.
But I've just been playing with the calculator here, and if they had say 700 people that had already registered for the convention, that's $19,000, which I tried to change it into Australian dollars, but it just broke the calculator.
I wonder.
$19,000 seems a bit exy for having to cover costs that they would have incurred.
Well, the only thing I think is, doesn't the NMRA have? Didn't we have this discussion at some point? Like, doesn't the NMRA have like $800,000 in the bank or something, or hundreds of thousands of dollars in the bank? Couldn't
I'm pretty sure their coffers are not empty.
Yeah, like couldn't the NMRA cover whatever costs were incurred? But what cost would be incurred anyways?
The only thing that I can think of, and again, I'm not an NMRA member, so full disclosure about all that. I have no dog in the fight, but my guess is that they might have a non-refundable deposit with the hotel or the facilities or whatever, and so somebody somewhere decided that they're not going to lose any money on it, so they're going to withhold whatever they would need to withhold from the refunds in order to not have to eat that deposit. That's just a guess. I don't know for sure, but that's the only thing that would seem logical to me.
it would seem to me that the NMRA would step in and make sure that anybody that any monies that anybody would be out would be paid by the NMRA head office from their slush fund, rather than
isn't the government giving organisations like hotels and airlines and that compensation and financial assistance while they're going through all of this debacle? I mean, you would have thought that if the hotel if they had to cancel the convention due to something out of their control, that the hotel wouldn't be charging them that much.
Well, I can tell you that they decided to cancel the Valley Forge RPM meet that would have actually been last week, like a week ago. It would have been a week ago today, and Val is really involved in the planning committee, and he was telling me that they're losing their deposit because the contract from the hotel, the contract from the hotel was pretty airtight in terms of what was refundable and what wasn't refundable. However, I will say that they have refunded everybody their registration fees, every penny.
Yeah. Well, I think that's the only thing you can do. You can't keep people's money if you're not giving them the product.
They did the same here for our convention, which is meant to be in June, and that was cancelled. And the great model train show at Epping, which was over the road from where the convention venue was, and we've had refunds of all our money and an invitation to the convention next year. So,
yeah, and go ahead, Ralph.
I would think that if they're going to be closing down the show, then I would bet dollars to donuts that the hotel is also closing, or whatever the venue is that they're being held at. So I can't see how they're going to be out. Wow. If the venue's closed, I'm sure they would get their money back, because the venue has insurance for that kind of stuff too.
I mean, to me, the right thing to do would be to give everybody every dime back, but again, I think it all comes down to what their contract is with the hotel or whatever. And, whether they're, covered by the government assistance that's coming out or whatever insurance they have, they're not, and this is the cynic in me, but they're not necessarily in business to be good neighbors to the NMRA or to the Valley Forge RPM committee. If they have a contract that the other party signed that said, if this is canceled, we're keeping this part, you can bet that they're going to keep whatever they're entitled to in that contract. Right, wrong, or indifferent. I mean, that would just be.
I think it would be suicide for them. I had a flight, and we talked about this before. A flight to Denmark booked for the end of this month and the beginning of next month, and British Air canceled the flight because of the COVID-19, and I got all my money and points back. They even went ahead and canceled the return ticket, which they hadn't got to yet.
Well, and my biggest concern is somehow I think on this page they should be telling people, they're not telling people not to sign up, and it's kind of like, isn't that kind of a trick? You go ahead and sign up. Isn't that, you go ahead and sign up, but then after you sign up, we're keeping $35 of your money.
Yeah, because I mean, with how this whole situation's going on, it seems
that's so sad.
It seems like
there's a disclaimer. Oh, sorry, Jordan, go ahead.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I would hope there'd be a disclaimer stating, "Hey, this may happen."
Well, like last year when all of this was going on, Jordan, this wasn't even a thought. So all those people who sent in their registration in 2019 and even, very early in 2020, the whole COVID-19 thing, no one thought anything of it in this country.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
but with a lot of conventions like that, a lot of times there is a disclaimer saying, after a certain date, if you cancel your reservation, you're going to lose something, because there's a lot of paperwork that has to happen, with the hotel, blah, blah, blah. And that type of language is very common, where if the participant cancels after a certain date, they're going to forfeit, some of that. And that up front going into it.
Exactly.
But what I would want to know is, when was this language added as a disclaimer, and what happens to all the people who signed up last year and earlier this year, where that disclaimer was not part of the, let's say, arrangement that they had.
That's a good...
And it's being canceled through no fault of their own.
That's an excellent point. Because this has only been added in the last 2 or 3 weeks.
Oh yeah,
right.
When did the early bird?
But the other thing as well
sign up end?
Go ahead.
Well, the early bird signed up finished last year around about June. That's when the early bird finished, which I thought was ridiculous.
No, it finished earlier than it was straight after Kansas City.
Yeah. What I find is they seem to be leaving this till the very last minute. In other words, waiting for the hotel probably to contact them and cancel, because they're going to be shut down by the government or the state government or whatever. Therefore, then they shouldn't be incurring much or any costs, because it's not them that's cancelling. So I still, I can understand $10 or something like that being kept, but
I don't understand anything being kept, because it's like buying I don't know. It's in my business. Typically, if somebody signed up and then they changed their mind, it would be me and me not giving them any of the product. If I cancel, it'd be me saying, "Well, tough luck. I'm keeping 25% of the money."
Yeah.
So,
go ahead, Jordan.
So here's a scenario for you. This is a global pandemic. It's affecting each country in a different way. There's lots and lots of models. Every country's in a different part of the curve. Some are flattening the curve, which will mean this will take longer for them to fix than other places. I mean, potentially you could end up in a situation here where definitely international travel may not be back to where it was in January by July. The US borders are currently shut, so anyone outside of the US would not be able to come in. And potentially, Missouri could be the only state that isn't in lockdown, or and what would happen then?
I got a question for you, Gordy, and maybe this question's a good question for everybody. How long do you think it'll be before they let me back in?
Let you back into where?
I think there could possibly be special rules for me. Yeah.
Maybe
there are always special rules for you, Lionel.
But this isn't an unprecedented situation, though, is it? We were here in Toronto when the SARS, which was a smaller epidemic, well, it was a pandemic, but I remember SARS, and it was smaller, but it had a significant impact on the NMRA Convention in Toronto.
It did.
So this isn't the first time that we've been here, is it?
No, I don't know what they did back then, but all I know is this. Mostly, I'm just concerned about people signing up from this point forward, because it seems like if you were to go ahead and sign up tomorrow or Tuesday or April the 10th, and they would automatically be keeping $35 of your money just because of the pandemic.
So, Lionel, I have
$35 in jeopardy.
Go ahead, Ralph. Ralph, you go, and then Jordan, you go.
All right.
You're putting $35 of your good money in jeopardy.
Yeah, Jordan.
Yep.
So, was it posted anywhere, like when on the convention side? That notice you found, was that set where you could see it right away? Like when you went to click where you sign up for the convention, was that there, or was it near the bottom of the page?
No, it's you go to the page and it says register for the convention today. And let me see if there's anything on that. Okay, there's no refund policy or anything there. So you register for the convention, and then if you go back to the main page, you have to. Then tells you that there's the title. Then it says the Gateway 2020 convention has not been canceled. we are working hard. So they're telling you that it's going ahead, but then at the bottom, you have to scroll all the way to the very bottom of the page to find refund policy. So
that's well hidden, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
I'm just concerned about like the NMRA is struggling so much. Doesn't it seem kind of cheesy that they're keeping your money because there's a world pandemic when whatever costs the convention might incur could easily be covered by the slush fund that the NMRA has on its own?
Well,
exactly.
There's no chance that whatever overhead they might be charged would ever come close to all the money they would keep from the registration fees.
Well, but I am by no means an NMRA. That's how you introduced me, but I am not a representative of this convention or the national NMRA by any stretch beyond social media. But the national conventions are, how do I put this? They are supervised to some extent by members of the national team, but they're effectively run by the local division that sets it up. So Kansas City with the Turkey Creek division, for example, and the division in Salt Lake City ran the convention last year. So it's a lot of this is devolved locally, and it's a local group of people. So
just remember, Lionel, what Charlie Getz said some time ago: the NMRA is not allowed to make money.
Yeah,
yeah,
right. Just as a clarification, George, what he was referring to is nonprofit organizations, where what he said isn't entirely true.
No.
Where you are allowed to make money, the only difference with a nonprofit is that all the money that you make stays within the organization. There's not a single owner or entity that can pull money out of the organization. You have to make a profit. If you don't make a profit, you will go out of business as soon as your cash runs out. End of discussion. And, for him to say that, especially him being a lawyer, you would think that explanation, would be a little more accurate in nature. So what I want to throw on the table is even if the convention is run by the local chapter, that's not the perception. The perception that's out there, and correct me if I'm wrong, anyone, is that this is the national convention, and national means national. It's the national train show. It's the national convention. And, regardless if it's run by the local chapter, if it's the national convention and the convention people decide to cancel it, that is their decision, not the individual decision. So if you think this through a little bit, that's, this disclaimer that you mentioned, Lionel, I would have to think is going to make people a little upset. And, it's that $35, it's not a huge amount of money, but in this time, every dollar is sacred, and you have to watch what you spend. So is that money then going to be put towards your NMRA membership, which I think maybe might make people, somewhat a little happier, or is it just gone?
Well, I don't know about hearing about this. I'm toying with the idea of renewing my membership, because I just got the membership thing, 3 letters in the mail asking me to renew. And I'm really struggling. Do I really want to after hearing this? Things haven't changed. Things haven't changed up top.
Well, I can share a personal story that is somewhat similar to this. Many years ago, when I was involved with the Reading Technical and Historical Society, we decided to, and this was before the availability of the T1 steam locomotive that Broadway Limited did. The only way you could get a Reading T1 was getting brass. Okay, so some people in the group decided that they wanted to contract with a gentleman who made resin bodies and used commercial running gear and everything, and they contracted with him to do a special run of T1 locomotives that people would order. And they were about $400 a piece. And the way that it worked is you paid up front and you basically got your model when it was ready. You paid the full freight up front. And as he would build, as he would cast these and build them and everything, first in, first out. Well, a little bit of time went by, and this was back in like 96, 97, something like that. And we raised about $30,000.
Ooh.
It was something,
That's a big effort, yeah.
It was very popular. Well, bit by bit, this guy he was a one-man shop. I'm not going to mention any names, but he kept getting delayed. And every time we would say, hey, what's going on? We would get another litany of stories, and excuses and, I'll be, up and running, blah, blah, blah. Well, finally, then at the end of the day, we get, I'm not going to be able to complete this project. Now, here's the thing. We had already given him the money. So the money was essentially gone because it was into molds and, tooling or whatever. So we, as a board of directors, had a decision to make. And it was, do we give everybody their money back? Or do we, try to dance around it somehow or whatever? Well, we ended up giving everybody their money back, every dime. And, it was $30,000, and we were, I think our total budget at the time was under $100,000. So it was a big bite out of our funds. But we had to do it, or else nobody would have ever bought anything from us again. And certainly nobody would ever have likely donated again if a piece of equipment came up that we wanted to buy or to preserve or anything like that. And so, I spent many an hour on the phone with people, talking to them about getting them their refunds and all that. And it was the right thing to do. It really pinched us for a while. And unfortunately, later that summer, somebody wanted to buy 3 of our excess coaches, and we basically made up the $30,000. But at the end of the day, we came out even, right? Our goal was to have, 30,000+ in the bank to, build our museum and further our preservation efforts. And so that was all gone. It was a complete debacle. But at the end of the day, we decided as a board that we had to do the right thing by our members and by the people that, that basically trusted us to go in on this.
Yeah, it's just so despite the fact you knew you would suffer a setback, you knew it was the right thing to do anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, like what else can you do? And and let's face it.
Yeah.
As far as we know the NMRA by their public financial statements, because they're, what do you guys call it, 501c?
501c3, yep.
Yeah, by their financial statements, we know that they've got plenty of cash in their slush fund. We know that by the fact that they're always giving themselves free trips and having presidential suites full of alcoholic beverages that Martyn manages to drink most of.
Yeah, it's my civic duty.
as an Aussie, he has to do it. It's required by law.
Yeah, I just don't see that the NMRA is a big enough organization to be taking money. Like, how many people are they going to offend? And mostly, anyways, it doesn't really matter. All I wanted to do is make sure that anybody that's listening to us, I felt like we had the information. So it would be a really good idea to just give people a heads up that absolutely going to be a great convention. I'm looking forward to it. Martyn and me and a bunch of, we're sharing a room. We're going to have a ball. I've been looking forward to it all year. I was just, I'm glad I haven't registered yet, because that's $35 that would just disappear out the window because of, I'm not sure why, but I don't like, so I thought we should give everybody a full warning.
Right. I had one other thought. Can I
Absolutely.
expand on that for a minute? So I was thinking what Tom just said, where he said if they don't take care of their members and they don't refund everything, that will affect membership and that will affect donations. It kind of has a snowball effect. So with all of these people who attend these conventions, if they don't get a full refund through no fault of their own, like what Tom said, maybe when the next membership letter comes around, they might think twice about not renewing for that year. And, let's do some math here. So let's say 200 people don't renew. That's 200 times $35. That's $7,000. And within a period of 3 years, the NMRA would basically be losing that much money anyway. And their retention rate would be less. And as we all know, the best way to recruit any new member is through existing members. And there are less people to, go to other activities as well and to buy publications and so on and so on. So, the long-term ramifications of alienating your membership base could potentially, in a very short period of time, be a lot more than those small deposits.
Exactly.
Well, can I just make a potentially a little bit more of a cutting point there?
Uh-huh.
The NMRA membership has been declining year on year anyway. Retention is a significant issue. It's probably the number one issue facing the NMRA today. Anyway, however, what you've got to remember is normally about 1,000 people attend their convention every year, the national convention. It fluctuates, but let's say the average is about 1,000. I would say a good chunk, maybe 60% of those, are people that either attend every year or every other year. And if you were to lose them, then future conventions could expect to lose, say I don't know how many it would be, but even if it was, say, 20% of those people don't decide never to come to a convention again, you've instantly lost 200 off every year. So now the convention's only getting 800 a year. Because the majority of the people at the convention go every single year or every other year.
Right. And those are the people that you would be alienating, which is, I would think, your core membership.
The way I look at this is look at any business. I mean, look at Lionel. You've had to shut your business down. You're obviously losing money. This is costing you. Every organisation and every business that's out there, this virus is costing them something. So what makes the NMRA different? Why do they have to do this to nullify their costs so they don't lose anything? Every business in the world is losing money at the moment. I understand them minimising it and trying to knock it down, but they could do something like keep the $35. But credit everyone a year's membership, and that would then defer that cost over, the next 12 months for when these people get their membership. But that would keep the goodwill between the members and the actual organisation. I see by just asking them for money is killing the goodwill.
Really feels. Go ahead, Gordy.
So here's the thing from me, and I've been trying to push this in the background for about a month and a half. Certainly at Springfield, I could see the writing was on the wall that this was a pandemic because I've spent 10 years in healthcare management, and this is not my first pandemic that I have seen. And I've been trying to push that, look, if we have to keep the $35 because we've got costs, we have to keep the $35. But there are alternatives there that we could do. We could turn all the clinics that would have taken place, given that all the clinics are given by volunteers, and put them all online. There's something we could do here if this convention ends up getting cancelled. I mean, look, it's the 5th of April. This convention is taking place in 3 months' time. A lot can change in 3 months of a pandemic that's moving as fast as this. But Wuhan was locked down for 4 months, so you can do the math. But, we could move all this stuff online, but unfortunately right now it's falling on deaf ears. If anyone ends up listening to this that wants to pick that up, that'd be great. But there are alternatives out there that we can do to keep to still provide something for people, because ultimately, money aside, people look forward to the convention every year.
Oh, for sure.
You know?
There you go, Gordy.
Right.
There you go, Gordy. Make an AML virtual convention. Knock yourself out, buddy. You got my full back.
Yeah, that's a great
It's on-
idea.
it's-
And I don't think anyone who is going to plan on going to the convention, if they were offered the convention materials to them as a consolation for keeping that $35, I that goes a long way in creating a lot of goodwill for people. If you say, hey, we need to keep $35, but we're going to give you 50 hours of clinic content, hey, that's a pretty good deal.
It is. Yeah. Yeah.
And
we've moved our convention all onto online now, and we've actually moved all our meetings. So we've been running meetings since December last year online. So, and that's at a divisional level.
So, Martyn, what about your guys' convention? Did you refund the money or what?
Yeah, 100% refund to everyone, and the convention's been rescheduled for next year in the same venue, same time.
But you still went ahead
And the venue didn't. Sorry, Lionel.
I was just going to say, but you went ahead and refunded all the money anyways?
All the money's been refunded, unless they requested that they wanted their money applied to next year's convention.
Okay, cool.
And then they could do that, but that was their option, you know.
Yeah, so everybody's getting full value for their money.
Yeah, it's not costing you anything because the virus has shut down our convention.
Right.
And we had a meeting. We had a online meeting yesterday between a couple of our divisions over here in Australia. We've moved all our meetings because we can't have meetings now online. So the first one we did, we live streamed that out on from a Webby page, and we had 6 clinics online. The chat by the divisional super, and we had a big screen at the actual venue as well. So the people at the venue, which was something I never really thought about when we were doing this live streaming stuff of the clinics, is we had a couple of cameras over the clinicians so they could see everything. But instead of everybody crowding around a table to see what this guy was doing, half of them sat back in their chairs and watched the big screen because they could see it all there at the actual venue itself where we were holding the meeting. So there was only about 3 or 4 people actually standing around the clinician watching what he was doing. So
yeah, I would think the only problem I would see with that is a big screen with your big mug on it would kind of.
Well, that's why I'm in the background running the laptop and running the IT stuff.
There's always someone behind the camera.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, I've got a good face for being behind a camera.
No. Well, you know,
face for radio.
But knowing you guys in Australia, my prediction, here's Gordy's prediction, and my crystal ball so far this year has been spot on, is that when it comes to that time of the convention, you will have something going on online for people. Yep. Even if it's just a division meet or whatever, because you would have cleared that weekend's calendar anyway in your NMRA calendar. And I know what you guys are like, because you understand, people outside of America really understand that this is not about making money. This is about bringing people together, and that you will do something for people, because otherwise there'll be a gap in their lives, and you will provide that content or that entertainment for them during that period of time, because they'll have cleared their calendars. And if we're still under house arrest, like 90% of the world is, what else are you going to do?
Yeah,
exactly.
That's a good point, Gordy. That it seems like the whole idea of model railroading in the NMRA is fellowship, and man, I don't think you can get a whole lot of fellowship if you're tricking people into giving you $35. That's what it seems like to me, is that they're not even telling people that, well, don't register. You could even if you said, all right, don't register for the next month because we're not sure what we're doing. But I mean, if somebody was to register on April the 10th, they're going to keep their $35. And it's kind of like, well, that doesn't seem right to me.
And it's not out in plain view.
What's that?
All they would have to do. Sorry, Lyle.
No, you go ahead. I was just somebody. 2 guys were talking. So George and Martyn, why don't you go first? George.
Martyn, you go ahead.
Well, okay.
We're a polite group here.
We are.
Sometimes.
Yeah, it's not a big article on the web page as well. I mean, to find this information, you've got to scroll right to the bottom, and then in small print, which I can hardly read without my glasses, it says refund policy. One would have thought if this is, in this climate we're in at the moment, most industries or most businesses would have that prominently displayed on their web page. I mean, if you go to Airbnb, the first thing that pops up is a full screen thing telling you all about their refund policies and what's happening with the COVID-19 virus. It seems like it's hidden, and it seems like it's there, which then makes you think it's there to deceive. Whether it is or not is irrelevant, but by doing that, it makes it look like they're trying to hide it.
Yeah,
it really does. I mean,
yeah, and at this point, public perception matters, and all they would have to do, like, honestly, the best thing for them to do would be to put a banner at the top of their page that says we're putting a pause on registrations until we can verify the convention is going ahead, be it May or whatever, and that would show a lot of integrity on their part, but they're not doing it. And to like I'm in a position like Tom, like I'm an outsider, but every event that I've ever signed up for that got canceled because of some extenuating circumstance, I was refunded 100%, no questions asked.
Yeah, like Tom, you're here now, and this will be the first we ever speak of this in public. But heaven forbid we have to cancel Tom's Stock 2020. Well, the first thing we're going to do is say to everybody, if you want your $20 back, we're happy to send it to you. Did he leave?
I was actually gonna keep it and buy decoders.
That's actually not.
No.
Yeah, you know what? No. Yeah, let's not say any more. Hush, hush. Yeah.
Well, that would be the equivalent. Like if Tom kept the same percentage, you get a refund of $15 back.
Yeah, there you go.
Since we spend 20.
Yeah, can you imagine doing such a thing?
And Tom's going to say, that's for administrative expenses. Decoders.
Right. You know what? In fairness to Tom, I think he could keep 25% just in the torture that he's had to put up with.
Yeah, that would be fair compensation, I'd say.
Yeah, I already paid for the water and power hookups for the RVs.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I don't know if you know who runs those outfits, but I'll tell you, it ain't the Boy Scouts.
Well,
now,
go ahead.
If I may have the floor for a moment. Yeah, it's to be quite honest, I am hopeful that this will end, with enough time for things to get back to some semblance of normal, that we can, continue with our plans for 3 days of peace, love, and little trains. However, at the same time, I am also being realistic. I'm paying attention to the news, and, there is a possibility that we will have to postpone. And if that does happen, everybody will get their money back, every penny, no questions asked.
Yeah, if they want, or we can say, okay, we're going to have it next year anyways. If you want it, you've already paid, whatever you want to do. But
yep, if they want to do that, that's fine. But if it would not even be
not even a
question. It's not. Yeah, it wasn't even something that and that's I'll tell you, everybody paid by PayPal, and the money is just sitting in PayPal. So if need be, I haven't, we haven't incurred any expenses yet. So, it would be very easy for me to just go into PayPal and just flip everything back. So,
yeah.
We'll
see. And I want to, because Tom, we try to keep everything as transparent as possible here at the old AML. Is that not true?
Yeah.
Two things. Number one, Tracy wants me to tell all you guys hi because she sent me a text and said, so I said I would promise to tell hi all to you guys from Tracy Boyd, the official flight attendant of the AML network.
Hi, Tracy.
Oh, we say hi.
Hello,
back.
Tracy.
Hi, Tracy.
Hey, Tracy.
G'day.
Yeah, there you go.
G'day, Tracy. When are you flying to BNE?
Yeah, there you go. So anyways, Tom, I want to, on the air, on a podcast, in front of the entire AML nation, I want to make it very clear that you came to me early on and said, we need to be paying attention to this, and there's a good chance things are not going to go our way. And I was somewhat opposed to that. And I want to formally apologize to you because you had such good foresight, and I was the one that didn't. So I'm formally apologizing if I gave you any angst at any time about that.
Nothing to apologize for. We're all good.
However,
is this Hug It Out 4?
yeah. However, I keep that in my back pocket because don't get used to it.
yeah. That's the one mulligan, right?
Yeah.
This hold on. You have to put the fine print in. Like, this offer has a time limit.
Right.
Will expire at midnight.
Will expire after 3 weeks, or unless
Act
we
now or
stop talking
forever
to each
lose.
other.
Yeah. However,
Right.
as I've said before a couple of times, I can't lose in this deal. I cannot lose in this deal. If we go ahead with the original date and we have Tom Stock 2020, I'm a winner because we're having it. If we don't have it and it becomes Tom Stock 2021, 2020, 2021, I'm a winner because I get another year to torture Tom to death about everything that I've tortured him to death. How can I possibly lose?
Exactly.
Well, it's I was outside all day today. I was out raking the flower beds and starting all of my spring outside work, and as I was raking the one flower bed, I looked, and the one shrub that I have was actually starting to bud, and I was like, oh, okay, hope springs eternal. So I am moving forward with getting the outside of the house nice and neat, with the hopes that last weekend in June we'll all be here hanging out, making burgers and hot dogs and having a grand old time.
And just to give everybody an idea of how I tortured Tom to death, we were talking about it offline somewhere, and I said, well, if we don't have it this year, we'll have it next year. It'll be bigger and better. And immediately he gets that executive thing and goes, well, it'll be better. And I'm like,
well, the one thing though you've got to admire it. Tom's got plenty of room out the back there for social distancing, so you could all be stood out the back there 12 foot apart from each other, and it'll look like something out of a Benny Hill scene.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so that's not a problem. But anyways,
So, Lionel, can I ask you 2 questions?
no, I'm afraid not.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So skeptical.
Let me ask the questions and then respond to them. So, number 1 would be, if Tom Stock's cancelled as the AML Nation, would we be would we work to provide something for our people online instead? And second question is, given that we've talked so much about the NMRA tonight, do we have an open invitation for anyone involved at national or with the St. Louis Convention on the committee to come and talk to us about this questionable refund policy?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. If they contact us right away, yeah, absolutely. Ralph's right, and everybody. I will put everybody on if they want. We'll have they can have every member of the board can come on and have their say.
Tell me why I should renew.
No, I can't help you there, Ralph. And what was your first question?
No, I mean for them to do.
Oh yeah, yeah. And and you might want to tell them Ralph will be here too.
So my first question was, given that June is a long time away, and we want to give people confidence that they're doing the right thing, staying at home, staying safe, staying well, and keeping their family and their friends safe and well during this difficult time. Having to be in the current situation that we all find ourselves in June at the end of June from where we are now at the beginning of April is a pretty depressing thought. However, if we do find ourselves in that circumstance and Tom Stock has to go by the wayside for 12 months, would we as the AML Nation provide something else virtually so that our people can come together and share peace and love through the internet?
That would be absolutely awesome. I am 100% in favor of it. However, let me put a caveat that if you're expecting me to do it, it probably ain't going to happen. But if everybody else wants to do it, the AML Nation is 100% behind it, and whatever we can do, we'll do.
You could have a virtual Tom Stock, and then Tom could mail out a barbecue pack to everybody to fry up on their own barbecue on the day, with a hot dog and a hamburger.
Well, that's a great idea.
$10 he's holding back.
Yeah. That's a great idea, Gordy. It's a great idea, Gordy. Get to work on that, would you, buddy?
Well, here, I'll propose it. Gordy, if you'll help me with it. Want to work on it together?
You already started it.
Well, yeah, we have.
We're already working on stuff for the AML Nation to support the NMRA with some online content for people around the world who are model railroaders who have our same illness. And, yeah, I'm not a problem. I am sure we can get Spoon to lead a virtual tailgate from Green Bay, Wisconsin.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, you don't have to ask people from Wisconsin twice, that's for sure.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, and hard part, this would be right up your alley, buddy.
Oh, that's got my name written all over it.
It's got your name written all over it. Yeah, exactly.
Spoon could give us a tour of his filing cabinets again.
All right, so let's wrap this up. We've been at it for an hour and 7 minutes. I think this is what a statement I would make, and you guys can agree or disagree. Number one, we 100% want the NMRA to be successful. We want it to live forever and ever. We think that the St. Louis Convention is awesome. Martyn, you and I were planning on going with our friends Ron Marsh and Adam Pinellas and the Stark brothers and Peter Borchardt and anybody else that could fit in the house. So we were planning on having a good time and associating. We just don't understand why they're holding back $35, and we highly recommend to everybody not to register until they decide one way or the other what they're doing. Otherwise, you're going to lose $35 for nothing. Is that about sum it up?
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Yep, that is some
Really
solid
nice.
advice.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Hey, Martyn, you want to give out our email address?
You're trusting that to me?
No, I'm not.
Martyn, you should have known this was coming.
Yeah, not a chance. There is not a chance.
Be careful what you say, George.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, it must be George's turn.
No, I think the appropriate one at this time is the one of the adult in the room is Hard Part. Hard Part, can you give out our email address?
Sure. If you'd like to contact us and further the discussion on the NMRA Roundtable, please send us an email at Modelers Life. That's Modelers with 1L. I don't have a 2L one at the moment. Or we could say 1L like I'm struggling.
Okay, let me help you with it. 1L,
Yeah.
1L like policy, not 2 L's like canceled.
Oh, wow. Oh,
Wow,
you know,
brilliant.
you knocked that one out of the park, Lionel, and you sounded fantastic doing it.
Oh, thanks very much.
Right out over center field, man.
There you go. So our email is modelerslife@gmail.com. That's modelerslife@gmail.com. Please keep the cards and letters coming.
Keep the cards and letters coming. We got to do another viewer mail right soon because we're getting piled up again. And we have a website, amodelerslife.com. Right at this exact moment, I'm rebuilding the front page of the website because it's actually Tracy Boyd's. Tracy Boyd is the official flight attendant of the AML network, and she suggested I watch a show called The Wire that was on in 2002. And because of that, it's a long, long story, but because of that, I ended up wiping out the front page of the website. So it needed refreshing, so I'm rebuilding it anyways. And so that's amodelerslife.com. Go there, you'll find everything else is still there, so that's cool, and it'll be back up pretty quick. And you know what? Hey, Martyn.
Yep.
Are you ready?
Could be.
We're not sure.
Yeah, we're not sure. How about now? Are you ready now?
Oh, I think I am.
Okay, so remember, a Modeler's Life podcast is considered marginally adequate by 6 out of 10
convention attendees.
And now it's time for the New Jersey Transit Elevator Escalator Report. Whether you want it or not. Take it away, Dave.
Good morning, everybody. Plainfield westbound's out this morning for some door modifications. They're going to adjust some of the equipment hardware that came in yesterday, so that should be back later this afternoon. Ridgewood number 2 is out. Vendors en route to take a look at the doors on that one. Those doors are open. At Woodbridge, we had a report of an ADA customer stuck in the elevator. The vendor went there and found the elevator operating normally, so that's back in service. Newark Penn number 9 is out with a skirt panel replacement project, same as last week. And Secaucus number 2, that's one that's out for its step chain replacement and a lower carriage assembly adjustment. So that's still going to be with a good date there of December 1.
It's another Lincoln Homer.